Today we're going to do a flower battle. It's going to be the tulip versus the daffodil. So daffodils will come in colors like white, yellow, orangish even. They'll have a number of different varieties. A lot of people buy the bulbs, they plant them, and then every spring they grow up and look rather nice. So this one here is the tulip. Much like the daffodil, it happens to be yellow, although these come in a much wider spectrum of varieties of colors. It's another bulb people commonly buy, and they'll plant so that it greets them in the spring, like these guys here. So daffodils here are another common one that people like to plant. But I'm going to go ahead and say I wouldn't be planting these. One thing about daffodils is that every part of this plant is toxic and cause vomiting, nausea, diarrhea. It's most likely not going to be life-threatening, but it's going to be uncomfortable and a painful experience. In fact, there's things in the bulbs of these plants that if you eat them, they're like microscopic little needles, and they're going to cause a lot of irritation. So while these are a nice bulb, we like to see them in the spring. They're not something that I would personally be planting when I could have a much more beneficial plant that really serves the same purpose. So if all I knew about the daffodil,
every part of this plant is toxic,
and all I knew about the tulip, these are edible. Wow. That one tastes really good based on color. They can actually have a variety of different flavors. That one, it's like a sweet iceberg lettuce-like crunch. And to me, since tulips have a wider spectrum of color, since they often come up with a lot of different heads, and since they really fulfill the same purpose as far as being visually pleasing as daffodils, they kind of keep reproducing, keep coming in more and more. They greet you in the spring. But with daffodils being toxic and these being edible, hands down, I'm planting tulips. That is so good. Of course, you want to stay away from ones that have been treated with chemicals, sprays, that type of stuff, but if you've got some from a good location that are doing well, these are absolutely incredible. And the bulbs are sometimes bitter, but they're also edible. And there's been times during like wars where in Holland, people lived off of the tulip bulbs. So when you have something that every year is going to give you this, think about adding these, throw a couple on a plate next to a steak, okay? Make a nice salad and sprinkle some of these on, kind of like you would nasturtiums or something else. That's amazing to me. When you can have these show up every year and give you something, a nice pretty garnish, let them look good for a couple days as they start to wither, eat them up. The only problem you have with tulips being as tasty as they are is that you may just want to eat them all and they won't even be there to visually be pleasing to the eyes anymore. So guys, we're in a situation these days. Sometimes you're going to want things around you to be edible. Here we've also got, edible weeds like chickweed growing. Got wild onion or chives, which is stuff you may have growing around anyway. But if you're going to be planting things, try to stack the purposes. These can be good for pollinators. These can be good to look nice. They can fill an area in your yard and have something growing there where maybe something else wouldn't have been otherwise. But if you can stack a function on it and potentially be able to feed your family as well, I would say absolutely stick to things that are going to be edible. And even if it's just as much as doing a little bit of research and realizing that the tulip, this is a tasty variety. And if you did that with a daffodil, you'd be poisoning yourself. So hopefully this helps, guys. I'll see you next time. Stay safe out there. Papa out.